To celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Land Rover Burghley horse trials, the cross-country course this year has been given a retro feel. With a time of 11.5 minutes, it's a classic test for both rider and horse. But how have some of the signature fences changed? Well, earlier in the rain, I spoke to Captain Mark Phillips. Now, we're about 3 minutes in, Captain Phillips. It's a second combination that the riders will face. It's a famous Discovery Valley, but it looks very different to previous years.
Yeah, it's always been a bit of an accuracy question in the past. But this time there's no real accuracy. They've got to go down into the valley there and jump over the ditch, and then the horses have to bounce over the bonnet of the Discovery. And it's something the riders haven't done for a long time. I remember doing it here way back in the early 70s, a fence that Bill Thompson put here. And it's having the belief that when the horses land up on that bank, they're actually going to have the power and the ability to be able to leave the ground again over what is actually a massive fence. So they're going to have to be brave, they're going to have to be confident that their horses are going to do it. Otherwise they'll be going over the ditch and turning left and around over the trunk. And then we go back to rather an old-fashioned type of fence. We used to call a coffin, which is a set of rails but with a ditch behind, and the rails are quite thin, a little bit old-fashioned, and as long as they jump the rails cleanly, they should just take one stride and hop over the ditch, which is a bit of an angle. But if anybody just leaves a bit of a leg on the rails and gets a bit discombobulated, the horses have got the temptation to run down the ditch instead of over it. But it's yeah, very different, but I think one that will also have the riders' respect.
Here we are at fences 18 and 19, the Land Rover Dairy Farm, and Captain Phillips, it is a return to tradition, but what a daunting prospect.
Well, it's a long way up those steps. The steps haven't been jumped since 1997 when it was the European Open here. But this time, not only do they have to go up the 2 steps, which is a bounce, they then have to bounce over the palisade at the top. And the horses are going to have a bit of petrol in the tank to make it all the way to the top and jump the third element. But things aren't quite as they seem here, because to go the straight way, the quick way, you've got to have a little bit of a long approach where you come round these old chestnut trees, which is going to take a little bit of extra time, but then the time will be saved on the other side. And the long way is actually to come on the shorter approach to the left of the trees as we look at it, and just jump the 2 steps by themselves and then go on to the rest of the dairy farm.
So we're on the other side of the palisade now, and this is the direct route, isn't it?
Yes, but riders can't relax for too long, because fence 19 comes up very quickly just off the turn, a narrow and quite a wide table. But once over that, riders have time to sort of think before the sort of next challenges ahead.
And for the riders and horses that maybe don't have that confidence and courage just yet, let's talk about the alternative route.
Yeah, they're going to be at the dairy farm for a long time.
So the not so daunting part of the dairy farm, but the longer route. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the 2 steps up are quite simple, and then they've got quite a long way to go to the 3rd element, the log, which is the alternative to the palisade. But then they have to go all the way around the bottom of the dairy mound to fence 19, which is on the far side, and that's going to take them probably 20-25 seconds. So
it's a time thing.
Yeah, and it could be the sort of the crux of the whole competition, because you know, if you want to win that Land Rover prize money, you've got to go direct. If you're just looking to get round, well, then you've got time to go the tourist route.
So we've seen a couple of the spectacular combinations, but like you say, if you want to win, what's it going to take to actually do that on this cross-country phase in particular?
Well, I think there's a lot of very big fences out here, and you've got to have a horse that's going to gallop and jump and enjoy jumping those big fences. It's not so technical as in previous years. We don't have so many narrow fences, but we have a lot of big fences, and so what's going to be on riders' mind is to make those jumping efforts as easy as possible for the horse, so that the horse doesn't think, oh, that was a big effort, and then, oh, another big effort, and so the horse doesn't start to lose heart. But if the riders do a good job, I think there'll be a lot of happy faces at the end, both horses and riders.
Captain Mark Phillips there on what it will take to be victorious in the cross-country phase of the Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials 2011.